Hey, thanks for tuning in again to Brent and Friends, Nonsense and Trends. I'm here with my friend, good buddy of mine, James Plemons, business partner of mine, and we're going to be talking about four quarters. What's it all about? Why are we talking about four quarters? Stay tuned. All right, well, welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for always hanging out with me, man.
Yeah, I love it.
I appreciate
being around.
It gets kind of lonely doing this by myself.
Yeah,
you know?
I bet.
Yeah, it does.
Conversations are better with a partner.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, well, there's plenty of judgment to be had for the person that's having a bunch of conversations with themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
But that tends to happen. I have conversations with myself once in a while.
Sometimes it's good.
Sometimes it's good to self-reflect.
That's right.
Actually, speaking of self-reflection, this whole topic of four quarters, super interesting. If I was to see a podcast or a blog or something that was just called Four Quarters, I'd be like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm actually very pleased that you are all here listening, because I could just imagine someone scrolling right past this. But the idea is it better to have four quarters or 100 pennies? And I think this is probably a concept that people have heard many times. Better to have four quarters and 100 pennies. But how do we apply that to our agency, our firm, Turning 65 Advisor, and the way we deal with our agents, our clients? And we're not just, the Turning 65 Advisor isn't just Jim and Brent.
Right.
I mean,
we're trying to grow and add agents to our agency force, and we're trying to do it in a quality way versus a volume way.
Right. Exactly. So as far as, the old saying, better to have four quarters and 100 pennies, I recently used that phrase or that comparison with my son, who's going to be 10 here pretty soon, because he's that kind of kid who wants to have a million friends and wants to impress everybody and please everybody and wants to have as many kids on his Rolodex as possible that are friends, right? And then there was drama with friends and hurt feelings, and as that all goes when you're growing up, and so that still happens when you're an adult. Matter of fact, I guess it's kind of the amount of people that are very close to me in my life I can really kind of count on one hand outside my home. Right. I mean, and I actually feel like my quality of happiness is actually very significantly high as a result of that. But the idea is that if you have four very quality individuals, that is always better. In my mind anyways, it's inherently better to have four quality people in your life than 100 people who are not so quality, but because there's so many of them, it adds up to a buck, right?
Like you're right. Your kids, they're probably saying 100's better than 4, Dad. What are you talking about?
Right. And it's kind of that idea of understanding value. And so I guess this is more of a confession of the things that we've learned over time with operating an agency, growing our business, and the things that we hope that the agents who are tuning in will hear, and they'll learn from those experiences that, I've been there through the process of bringing on an agency and just trying to building an agency, and trying to bring on as many agents as possible. Just bring them on, and getting as many agents wrapped up into the firm as possible to where we can't support them. We can't handle them. We're growing too fast. We've got too many agents to support. And so then what we end up with is, unless that agent really takes their own success personally, which I think they probably should anyways.
Right.
But unless that agent really just takes the bull by the horns and isn't really needing our help, then we're setting them up for failure. We're going to have a bunch of pennies out there that aren't really worth a whole lot and that's not necessarily even their fault. It's really kind of ours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's you have to if you find that quality individual that can bring to the table what 25 individuals could, then that's definitely a lot easier to manage too. And we're going to be able to provide better support for that person too. Right.
And that's almost, it can almost be applied. I know certain people in this business where they operate this business on a big volume base.
Right.
And for those of you who are listening who are just clients, this might not resonate much with you. And I don't necessarily want to get going down the road of compensation, how agents get paid, because that's another topic for another day, right? We could totally do a podcast on that. We could do a show on that. But The point is that for us as agents, we get compensated more. The more quality our clientele is, the better our compensation is. Obviously, but how does that really break down? The longer a client stays on the books with our firm, and the longer period of time that a client is pleased with our services and hasn't fired us yet,
right?
The better we are compensated as a firm, because we're taking care of our clients long term. So our compensation grows as a result of that, right? So if we have clients for a short period of time, then our compensation is lower. And if we're not pleasing our clients and keeping them on the books long term, then we have to be turning over we have to be doing a whole lot of volume business in order to make substantial money as a firm, as a company, versus having less clients, but more attention, more longevity, like Jerry Maguire.
Right.
Right.
So the value proposition works the same with clients as it would agents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you could have a client that has multiple lines of business with your agency, or you could have 4 clients that have just one line of business with your agency.
Right. Or you can have let's say every year you add 10 clients to your business and you lose one. And then the next year you add 10, but lose one from the previous year. And then the next year you add 10, but lose one from the previous year. Now you've got that model. Right. And you're able to give more attention to those clients, and your business is growing more and more, and your compensation as an agency is growing because you have more clients on the books.
Right.
And we get, we obviously are compensated each renewal year with our clients as we're taking care of them. And they haven't left. They haven't gone somewhere else because we're taking care of them. Or you've got that agent that's not taking care of their clients. They're not talking with their clients. They're not having discussions with their clients. And every year they're adding 20 clients to the books, and then they're losing 6. They add 20 and lose 6, add 20 and lose 6, because their turnover ratio is so much higher that they have to operate in more volume.
And the more lines of business you work with one client, the more likely they are to want to work with you.
Exactly.
So if you have their Medicare and you also have a life insurance policy or a dental plan or something like that.
Well, who wants to have 6 different...
Who wants to have 6 agents to call for all the different types of insurance that they have?
Exactly. So, and as an agency, when we're looking at the 4-quarter rule with our advisors, we call our agents advisors really, but with our advisors, when we look at the 4-quarter rule, it's better to bring on less agents, but make sure that we develop them in a quality manner so that they're able to take care of their clients in the same respect that we deal with our clients. What I mean? Less clients, but more personal attention, better quality business with our clients, more education with our clients. Ultimately, in the end, the math really is going to end up the same, except for our clients are going to be happier individuals. Your advisor is going to be a happier individual. We're not going to be miserable, and we're actually going to have good personal relationships with our clients and our agents. Right?
Yeah, we can provide a lot better support with less agents, and they can provide better support to their clients.
Right.
Because they have more lines of business, focusing more on that household. And it kind of parallels with the P&C or the property and casualty side of our business. A lot of insurance agents, when they sell auto and home insurance, they go out there and they're just looking for the auto insurance only. And a lot of agents that I work with would just write an auto insurance policy, and they'd go out and find $100 insurance policies. I was always more focused on finding the household, where I would find somebody that had 2 cars, they owned a house, they had a boat, and they had an umbrella. Maybe they were a small business owner. I would much rather focus on nurturing that household of policies and taking good care of them. I'd rather have 10 households like that than 100 households like the others.
Where you just had a car.
Right. Because when you have just a car, there's no loyalty either. That person's going to go, they're going to go
really,
for
how
the
much
next...
value are you providing to that person's life aside from maybe saving them $20 a year?
In the absence of value, price is the only consideration. So as soon as you lose, your rate goes up $10, they find somebody that's going to save them $10.
Right.
But when you take care of the entire household and all their lines of insurance business, if their auto insurance goes up $10, they're not going to worry about it so much, because they've also got their home insured with you, their life insurance with you, their health insurance with you.
Right. And you're going to run into those clients where they do only have one piece of business with you.
It happens.
I mean, it's going to happen.
I don't turn that type of business away, but that's just not kind of the focus of my agency.
We are providing a wholesome plan for our clients. At the same time, with our agents, we as a firm have a pretty strong rule that we operate off of, and there's exceptions to every rule. But when we have an agent that comes and they want to work with our firm and they say, hey, I sell 10 different insurance companies, and I've got another agency that I have a loyalty to, but they don't offer this specific insurance company's product. I want to offer it with you, but I'm going to keep all my other products with that firm. We usually say to them, honestly, those are not the types of relationships that we're seeking. I mean, we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation about it, but most of the time we're going to kind of lean towards the idea of no.
Yeah, why don't you bring all of your contracts to us so that we can provide the support that you really need?
Exactly. And at the same time, it's not even from this sense of greed. It's from the sense that I've been in this business for 15 years, and after 15 years, almost 15 years, okay, fine, sue me in February, in February of next year, in February of 2021, goodness, what year is it? In February of 2021, it's gonna be 15 years I've been in the business. So,
wow.
So the thing is I've genuinely learned that if you have one agent that just has one product with you and 10 with someone else, the engagement is low, the training is low, the commitment is low, them being able to help multiple clients is low, production is low, morale is low. There's almost never, and I'm just saying almost because I can't say it always works this way, but there's almost zero quality in the relationship there, from a production standpoint, from a support standpoint, from a personal relationship standpoint that you have with that producer, with that agent, advisor, whatever. There's almost zero tangibility there whatsoever. And so it's not that we're saying, hey, we're greedy, we don't want your business unless we can have all your contracts. But it's like, hey, if we don't have all your contracts over here and we only have one and you got 5 or 6 somewhere else, odds are we're all going to be wasting a lot of each other's time. And that's why I said we don't always say no. We just lean towards no, but we'll have a conversation about it. Because if that producer says, hey, listen, I only want to have this insurance company with you, but here's the thing. I plan on doing a lot of business there. I plan on being very engaged. I really like that product and I really want to engage with you. We'll hear that, right?
That might work.
It might work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what everything hinges on.
Right.
That might.
But statistically speaking, it doesn't really, work out usually most of the time.
I mean, I think, Jim, tell me, you were telling me just last week that you have a friend who's a farmer's agent. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a household, right?
Right.
He referred to you a client that had like a really expensive car that he
Yeah. That's
so tell me. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes. So he's a farmer's agent. He referred to me. It was his son was turning 16 and he had I can't even remember what kind of car it was.
The client, not the farmer's agent. The client.
The client, yes, had a son was turning 16 and they had a very expensive car, and he referred that one line of business to me, and so we quoted that. But most of the carriers won't even write a high end automobile like that on a monoline policy. They only will write it if you
plus
have
a 16-year-old kid.
I'm a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah,
literally, it was like a $60,000 car for a 16-year-old kid, and they wouldn't write it without having the household also insured, the home.
So that was one of those rare scenarios where it made sense to you have just that one article of business,
right? Because we couldn't insure the whole household. He didn't want to lose the whole household. He just needed this one piece of business placed outside of his agency, and I was willing to do that for him.
Right.
It didn't work out, but that was the plan.
You were willing to do it.
I was willing to do it.
Yeah. And so
just like you said, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I was willing to entertain it, and then it just didn't happen to work out for us.
Right. So what would be, if you were to give your advice to someone who's just wanting to say, hey, Jim, dude, I want to start an agency. I want to start an agency and recruit a bunch of agents and make a bunch of overrides. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a great idea.
It does.
It definitely does. It's a little bit harder than it sounds, though. And I would certainly focus on trying to go out and find 3 or 4 quality agents to go out and so you could pour your support into those 3 or 4 agents and help them produce the best results possible versus going out and finding 100 agents that won't write much business or write only one policy here and there. So.
Right. And this is, if for those who maybe heard our last show we did, right? The show we did about hospital indemnity for bozos.
Right.
And so that's where we talked about the idea of someone who had a Medicare Advantage plan and then us helping educate the client on why it's important for us to attach a hospital indemnity policy to it.
Right.
Not because it's another sale,
right,
but because of what those two policies do to bring value to a more wholesome level of protection, right?
They make sense. They work together.
But in turn, we've now given that client a better form of coverage, right?
Sure.
We've improved their coverage. And that client, in turn, we would hope, is then happier.
Right. I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Better protected.
Absolutely.
We can sleep at night. We've done a better job for the client. So the 4-quarter rule, broken down in simple, in my opinion, I mean, today has been a day of just a bunch of really good one-liners that I've heard. But the 4-quarter rule is something where, man, I would just love to get that thing framed and like hung above my desk and just reminding me every day to remember the 4-quarter rule.
Right.
That it's not that we have the ability to take advantage of a volume-based business, but we need to decide what type of advisors we're actually going to be. Are we going to be volume-based advisors, or are we going to be quality advisors? Believe it or not, yes, surprisingly, we do get into this business to make money. We do get in this business to feed our families. We both have a wife and kids. So it's important to make sure that we're paying the bills.
And at the end of the day, sure, 100 pennies is still worth the same as 4 quarters.
It is.
It has the same value.
Exactly.
It doesn't.
Exactly. What a lot of advisors, I think, in this business think is that they have to do volume style business in order to really make good money in this business. You don't have to do volume style business. No. You should have a decent amount of business. You have to have a decent amount of clients. There's only so much money you can make off of one household.
Right.
You need more of them to make more money, of course. But if we focus on taking better care of our clients, each individual client is going to provide better for your firm, I guess. And so allow that, if you are a client, allow that to maybe be comforting. I mean, I know what it sounds like is we're going to sit down with you and we're going to try to sell you a billion different products. I mean, that's not the way we do business. What we do is we try to help you understand a wholesome plan. We actually try to help you save money, spend less, but get better coverage. I mean, that's our goal. And educating your clients that way.
Whenever you bundle all the policies with the same, not necessarily the same insurance company or the same broker, we're familiar with their entire picture.
Yeah.
So we can see the holes in their coverage. We can see, okay, here's what you're missing, and we can fill those holes. We can fill those gaps with a policy to protect you from everything that might come at you.
And a lot of times we're able to fulfill those holes by saying, hey, you've got this policy over here. It costs you X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. There's all these holes. This policy over here is going to be the same as that policy, but it's going to cost less money. Now, the money that we just saved, let's fill all those holes. At the end of the day, you're spending the same amount of money or less, and you're getting much more efficient coverage. That's really our goal. Our goal is to try to help you get as much coverage as you need, not more than you need, but as much as you need, in making sure that it is financially prudent.
Right.
That's, or prudent, I guess, is financially beneficial, financially workable. Right? It's within reach. We don't want you to overspend and be overinsured.
There's such a thing as insurance poor, and you can
overinsured.
You can be there. I mean, you can pay for more insurance. You're spending more than you're protecting. So it's your insurance poor. So you don't want to overspend or overinsure. And I run into that sometimes too, where people have too much insurance.
It is very possible.
Sometimes I can't believe I'm saying it when I'm telling somebody, hey, you don't need all that insurance. We could reduce those coverages and save you some money, and then the money we save here, we could come put it over here and fill this little gap that you have over here.
And that is exactly what the 4-quarter rule really represents.
Right.
I mean, it's exactly what it represents, is doing quality business with less people instead of half-baked business with a ton of clients. Right. So we take that model and we apply that to everything in our lives, whether it's in our homes, whether it's in our firm with our brokers and our advisors and how we treat them, or whether it's with our clients and how we treat them as well. So we try to make that happen. So that's really kind of what I wanted to hone on here today. So
yeah, that's a good topic.
Yeah, I like it. And it's probably one we'll revisit as we go on and we learn more things. So with that being said, thanks for everybody tuning in. We're trying to keep these short and educational because we know that you guys are all busy out there trying to figure out how to turn a bunch of pennies into quarters right now. So anyways, you guys need any advice or any help, www.theturning65advisor.com and 623-777-3315.
You got it.
Bam.
Brent. Bam.
See you guys later.
All right, take care.